went and did a few other things. But we both retired prior to January 6th, and we're really looking forward to spending more time on the farm, doing projects around the farm, and doing some traveling in our golden years. But our country had other plans for us, so we haven't done a whole lot of that yet. So that's a little bit about us. We're just regular folks who lived a quiet life on our farm in Virginia until our lives became absolutely shattered, totally shattered by what I call the January 6th nonsense. Our January 6th, or J6 story, as I like to call it, Tom's and mine, is pretty similar to that of many, many J6 defendants. There were approximately 1,600 folks arrested with charges related to January 6th. I'm sure there would have been way more than that. We know that the DOJ was arresting over 2,000, maybe more. If President Trump had not been elected, I'm sure it would have been ongoing. Some of the things we have in common are every single person, I am totally convinced, because I've met some J6ers and their families, all of them were grossly overcharged. And everyone suffered malicious persecution. The majority were over-sentenced if they got that far in the process. Also, J6ers, J6 defendants, like Tom and I, had zero criminal history. Zero. Nothing. Not a traffic ticket, not a parking ticket, not a speeding ticket, nothing. Yet, we were treated as if we were terrorists, or the absolute lowliest scum of the earth by a country that we love and have served. Simply for attending a rally and exercising our First Amendment rights, and in doing that peacefully. So we all have that in common, I think, most J6ers. But I'd like to quickly highlight a few ways in which our J6 story is a little bit different from that of some others. Go ahead, Tom. First thing here is the FBI approved a false predication to open an investigation on Tom. So what's a predication? A predication is a written document that it must be approved by higher-ups within the FBI, and it is supposed to state or outline the facts and circumstances that justify opening an investigation into an American citizen. Tom's predication, which we have, listed two facts. One, that he stormed into the Capitol, that he led a group of military-trained people into the Capitol on January 6th, and that Tom was a leader and a commander of a group called the Oath Keepers. The problem is, neither of those facts were true, so I guess they weren't really facts, were they? So they really should never have received approval to open up an investigation, but hey, why bother with facts? Go ahead. Tom was arrested after virtually no investigation. He'll talk more about that later, but when they came to our house and arrested Tom, they knew nothing about him, nothing about him personally. They did not know he was a veteran. We had these FBI people crawling all over our house. The FBI did not know that he had worked for the FBI for a brief amount of time. They didn't know. And their conversation about that was something like, I used to work for you guys. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Anyway, they knew nothing about him. And they knew nothing about what he actually did on January 6th. They got everything wrong because they did no investigation. His case, Tom's case, is very much a classic case of, well, let's arrest first, and we'll find a crime later. That's not the way things are supposed to happen in this country. During our raid into our home, our peaceful little home, Tom gave a voluntary 3-hour interview to the FBI. He didn't have to. Most people say, if you have something like this happen to you, don't say anything without a lawyer present. But he did. He talked with them, told them everything. Answered all their questions truthfully, and actually helped him down the road. But it didn't matter. Okay. Tom was arrested, I was not. This was kind of odd because Tom and I went to January 6th together. We were side by side, January 5th, 6th, 7th, in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We had a husband and wife date. We had a little hotel room right outside of Washington. But hey, we're just going to have a little weekend getaway. Won't this be fun? So we couldn't figure out why they went after him and not me, especially early on, but they did. Tom was the first J6 defendant to be charged with conspiracy, along with 2 other co-defendants. They thought when they came to our home that Tom was the big cheese. They accused him of planning everything that happened on January 6th. But it turns out Tom was not the big fish. He was not even a minnow, maybe more like a plankton. But as they later found out. Go ahead. Tom and I did not enter the Capitol building. We witnessed no violence, and we'll see that. But they accused him of that. Go ahead. Even though we did nothing on January 6th that was, in our view, wrong. Everything we did was peaceful. He was threatened with life imprisonment by the DOJ. That was even after they finally realized, oops, they made a mistake, we didn't go in. Tom was subjected to extreme house arrest conditions. Other J6ers were too, to a certain extent, but oftentimes not to the extent that he was. He had to wear an ankle monitor for almost 4 years, could not use a cell phone, could not use the internet. How do you survive today without using the cell phone and the internet? It was extreme isolation, even when he was home and no longer in prison, so it was pretty rough. And finally, Tom endured a multi-defendant, 10-week-long jury trial. And most J6 defendants who were charged took a plea deal, and that's absolutely what they should have done. And I totally understand it, because it's almost impossible. It literally is impossible to win in Washington, D.C. when you're charged with these bogus charges in a kangaroo court with corrupt juries and corrupt judges. You don't have a chance. You just don't. And if you want to salvage your savings and your life, you take a plea deal and just plead to something you didn't do. But we were not going to do that. We fought that. It was hard, but we did. Even those who did go to a jury trial, most jury trials were 1 to 2 days, maybe a week. Most didn't go for 10 weeks. It was pretty intense. So that's a little bit about how our case is a little bit different. What was our January 6th day actually like? We took over 200 photos and videos that day and had a beautiful sequence of everything we did. We're going to show you just a few of those, just to give you a feel for what our day was actually like. This is at the Ellipse, where President Trump spoke in the morning. So we're there with, as you can see, lots and lots of other people. You can see the jumbotrons in the distance. This is very early in the morning, probably about 7 a.m., and people were waiting to hear the president speak. And there were lots of speakers before President Trump. This was early enough, nobody was even speaking yet. That's us. We're just hanging around, one of the crowd, waiting for the president. That's me there. I'm listening to somebody speak. I'm not sure who, but we're there. Again, this is at the Washington Ellipse, where we're listening to the speakers. You can see we were just a little bit in front of the Washington Monument. Go ahead. After we listened to the president speak, it was great. Afterwards, we walked from the Ellipse area down to the Capitol along Constitution Avenue, along with many other people. Go ahead. That's me on the left. I'm walking towards the Capitol after the speech. That's us again. We're still walking towards the Capitol, and I call that Tom's COVID protest mask. Go ahead. This is when we got to the west side of the Capitol. Tom, as I mentioned before, I think I mentioned him, he is a 100% service-connected disabled veteran. He has many injuries. His worst is probably his lower back, which is held together with rods and screws. We were on our feet all day. It was freezing cold. By this time of the day, it was like after 1 in the afternoon, we needed to sit down. We needed to sit down. We've been on our feet all day. His back is killing him. This is right in front of a place called the Peace Monument. It's on the west side of the Capitol. It's a Peace Monument, a Peace Fountain. It's a place that is a fountain. In the summertime, there's water in it. In the wintertime, in January, there's no water in it. But what holds in the water, the granite ledge around the fountain, you can sit on the ledge, and you don't have to sit on the ground, which would have been really hard for him. So when we got here, we saw a place to sit down, and we made a beeline for that Peace Monument. Go ahead. So this is the Peace Monument in the background there. You can see the Capitol in the distance, and I hope you can see